Paul, hi, Jim Delapine here. I want to give you some video feedback on helping you with this. So I want to talk about how Fred is standing on the countertop first of all. So I'm going to select the background layer, okay? I'm going to select the background layer. I'm going to hit Control T to put a bounding box around it and scale it up a little bit or move it. So I'm now going to hit Control 0 to see the top of the bounding box. And that means now if I click and drag down just a little bit, now he's on the counter. Okay? I'll hit enter. So now he's really on the counter instead of looking like he's going to fall over. All right, so let's talk about the text a little bit. So what we'll do is this. You, uh, let's see here. I see you have the shadow there. Great job on that. But there would not be a shadow after it falls off the counter. So let's select the shadow. All right, so here you have the shadow. And then what we'll do is we'll put a layer mask on there. So I'll click the layer mask option. Go to my paintbrush tool. All right, select a reasonable size brush. Making sure, always be aware of the hardness of your brush, okay? So down here, if I zoom in quick, I'm hitting spacebar, control, all right? I'm gonna delete this part, but I need black as my foreground color. So I'm gonna hit the letter D and then X, all right? D and X gives you black foreground color. So now if I see this, I'm actually getting rid of the shadow or masking it out. So if I click right on the bottom edge right here where you see that circle of my paintbrush, click here and then hold down the shift key and click over here, it creates a straight line in between. All right, so that looks more realistic, okay? All right, now what you want to do is just work with the text. I'm also a little concerned about how you put the toothpicks in there. They're too small. You don't have to base this on reality. All right, this is just not working yet. But so get larger toothpicks and try to stick them in there to make it look like they're coming out of there to hold up the eggs. All right, I would also move the eggs up here, the eyes. Let me see here. Let me just put these over here. I would move the eggs up here so this way you could see this highlight, because otherwise this is a very dark, this eggplant is very dark. So one thing you forgot to do, I see that you have a save the rename channel, but you need an adjustment layer that is a clipping mask and not an image that's attached to your name. So this would be possibly a good way to start. So with the eggplant layer active, I'm clicking on levels. Okay, so I'm selecting levels, and I'm instantly making it a clipping mask by holding down the Alt or Option key and clicking in between. See how it attaches? Now that's an adjustment layer for levels that is a clipping mask and attaching to the underlying eggplant layer. So now any changes I make will appear only on the eggplant. So I'm going to lighten this. All right, I can't really, it's kind of weird with this window because you can't reduce it, but here's the highlight slider here. So if I click and drag this to the left, I'm lightening up the outer edges or the highlights, and then this represents the midtones. This is shadows. So there's a lot of shadows in this image. So this corresponds directly to this grayscale over here. So if I click and pull this, I'm now lightening up the center portions of it. So now at least I can, see more of the definition of that eggplant. All right, so I would do that. All right, you need to do that for the final submission. Now what we can do also is, so keeping that, I would move the eyes up here. All right, so what we're going to do is work with the text now. All right, again, these elements here would fall down, so you have to have toothpicks holding them up, but you can hardly see these, so scale these toothpicks up. They're so tiny that I can't even, I don't even know if you have them in here. I'm trying to, oh, you call it onion right side. Oh, okay. So if I select that and hit Control T, I can scale that up, although it's not a good idea, see, because now you lose quality. So you have to get the original images in there. All right. And then what you would do is, I would rotate it. I'll put it here, for example, and two toothpicks for each one. And then with the layer mask, you would paint on the layer mask like maybe here. So now it looks like it's sticking into or coming out of the egg. Get the idea? All right. So, and all you have to do with these is like make sure your paintbrush is hard, 100% hardness. All right. And then if you click and shift click, you'll get nice sharp edges. Okay. It takes a little practice. So if you click here and then shift click, right in the right location, you'll get a sharp edge. All right, so toothpicks you may want to get a little pointy, something like that. Okay. So with these eggs up here, I think it's better. So this highlight is seen. Now for Fred. All right, let's do this. So let me just go to this name here and go to my text tool. Select this. Okay. All right, I'm going to change this font here. You could use that same font for flipping food, but I'm going to make Fred something different. Okay, I'm going to make Fred Arial Black because I need a heavy font for what I'm about to do. All right, and then I'll hit Control T. Whoops. All right, so now I'm going to move Fred here. I'm going to hit Control T and scale this up. All right. And then what I'm going to do is rotate it. And I'm basically going to place the text on the counter. All right, so now I'm going to hold down the Control key and go to the corner and start manipulating this. All right, pulling this out here and there. See, I'm matching the countertop here. All right, for the perspective. It gets a little weird. What I'm going to do is this. To make it easier, I'm going to rasterize this text layer. Right now it's text. So if you right click and select rasterize type, there. Now it will be a little easier to manipulate. Alright, so you're going to have to do some fiddling with this, but again, it's a matter of control clicking on the corners, and this is coming out really weird. Alright, so something like that. Okay, so now what I'll do is control click on the thumbnail, and that puts a selection around all those layers, and I'll hide that layer. Alright, I'll scroll down to the bottom, to the image, alright, your background, so I'm going to have that active, and then what I'm going to do is hit Control J. Alright, if you're on a Mac, every time I say Control, it's Command. Alright, so now I have that on a separate layer. You know, you can't see it because it's seamless, but now what I'll do is apply a layer style to it. So I'll double click on the layer, bring up the layer styles dialog box, and hit bevel and emboss, and start to experiment with that kind of thing. Start to experiment with different, inner bevel, outer bevel. It seems like outer bevel maybe this kind of thing, chisel hard. It's an inner bevel chisel hard. I think outer bevel, I don't know. Yeah, outer bevel chisel hard seems to be. And now here's a way you can change the light source. See this little dialog box. So experiment with this stuff. See what you think. So something like that would work. All right. So you can also, something like that I think looks good. All right. But you can also experiment with other things. If you select color overlay, you can even change the color. Just want to keep it low so you can see. So experiment with that kind of thing. All right. And now with the text, I want you to create text up here and have it floating, right? And have the prongs grab onto the text. So you may have to move these up, all right? But you see this knife here? You need to make it look like it's going into the eggplant. So that means selecting See this here? I had mentioned that. So the idea is that things will stick into here. So if I select the fork layer mask, go to my paintbrush tool, and paint in a layer mask and mask out that area. All right, something like that. All right. So now I want you to have text up here, flipping Fred, and have the fork and the tongues hold on to the text or go through the text. All right. Like for example, this can go through the D. This could be holding the F. All right. So experiment with that. All right. Don't forget your adjustment layer with the clipping mask. Okay. I hope that helped. Bye.